Hello everybody, Mr. Clutch here, back in the confines of the Clutch Enterprises corporate headquarters and executive office, sitting on the other end of the desk on the interview couch. Big week, big week. We finally got around to doing the potato, pepper, and egg breakfast sandwich. It's actually, the timing is perfect as we're releasing this episode the weekend of Father's Day, and it is sort of a Father's Day special in homage to my dad, who was a big fan of that sandwich and would cook it periodically at home. If you like what you see here, or even if you don't, please subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, tell a friend. Have a great week, everyone. Enjoy breakfast.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. It's Mr. Clutch here, coming to you live. Well, probably not live for you, on Mr. Clutch Cooks, Season 1, Episode 9. And today, it's Memorial Day. So I went back to the old apron from the first couple of episodes in celebration of that. So happy Memorial Day to everyone, though you're probably watching this at some point in the future. Maybe a future Memorial Day or just some other day. Today, we're working on a breakfast item. We're going with peppers 2 weeks in a row. And we're making the promised, because I promised this to you for week after week after week in our closing credits, the great Italian classic potato and egg sandwich. Now, you see a red pepper here. There are sort of two rare, popular in the Italian world, breakfast sandwiches out there. There's the potato and egg, the one that I really love, was dates all the way back to high school, that I wanted to make today. And then there's also pepper and egg. They're two separate guys, they're two separate animals, they're two separate sandwiches. But today, we're going with a very unique recipe where we're going to make a pepper and egg and potato fusion. All three, one sandwich, never been done. Going to give it a shot. As I probably mentioned in the preface, these sandwiches go back two ways for me. One is in high school, there was a deli in Ozone Park called Romeo's or Romans or something like that. I forget the name, Romeo and Juliet maybe. And they made this unbelievable, awesome potato and egg sandwich. And, you know, in high school, once you're in for the day, you're really not allowed to leave. But I somehow, some way managed to find this, like, sub-basement back door that was not locked, that I was able to sort of tiptoe out every once in a while, walk down the block to the deli and grab one of these sandwiches and sort of sneak back into the school. Let's keep that quiet. And also, as I probably mentioned earlier in the previous as well, my dad, one of the things he loved to cook is breakfast, and he made a pretty heavy-duty version of this that was more pepper, less potato, probably never really used potato. And he also did a lot with onions, and we're gonna leave onions out of this one. Sorry, Dad. But we're gonna leave that out. And one last thing here was slight upgrade for this week. A couple weeks ago, I got a complaint from JT, the initials, saying that the audio wasn't really great on this. So you can see here I'm wired up this week with a lapel mic. I don't know if it's going to be better, worse, the same. Hopefully the audio is being recorded right now. I did test it. But we're going to roll with that, and we'll see sort of how that comes out. So with that being said, let's start as usual, walking through sort of the ingredients here. So of course, potatoes. Now, to make a 4-pack of these sandwiches typically calls for 4 potatoes, but the ones that I have laying around the house here, a little smaller than my liking. So I'm going to go with 5, but if you went and you bought baking potatoes, the big boys, over at your grocer, you can get it with sort of 4. 1 red pepper. This is a big guy here as well. Doesn't have to be this big, but we'll get to that. We have a 1/4 cup of mozzarella cheese. We're going to use a little later on. We got, and I like to go a little heavy on that, by the way. We also call for about a 1/4 cup of chopped parsley. Now, I went a little light on that. That's just my personal feeling. Now, this is my personal recipe, so I guess I can do whatever I want. You just need a teaspoon of salt for the egg mix. We'll do a little bit later. And, of course, you need some high-quality olive oil, which we're going to toss in the skillet in a minute. And then the last 2 things, this calls for 8 eggs. I got 8 eggs in here we're going to break in a minute and mix in a minute. And, of course, we're making sandwiches. not those, not Pilates. The word will come to me, where it's sort of like a flat thing. We're putting these guys on rolls, and you know, the one and only way to sew is two ways. The one way that I'm familiar with and like to do it is on a good old fresh Kaiser roll. You can also put it on Italian bread. That's also a real popular sort of way to do it, but we're going to go with the Kaiser rolls for today. So gather up your ingredients, and as usual, I sort of have most of the stuff prepared. We're going to do a little preparation here on these guys in a minute, and then we're going to get cooking. We'll do the pepper here first real quick. There's only one, so it's nice and easy. You just toss it on a cutting board. You basically off with its head, chop the head off, and then really you're just going to peel out the guts, including any seeds and all that. This one doesn't seem to have a lot. I got most of it out on the first crack because most of it is up on the top part of the pepper. You just want to clear it out and have a nice fresh pepper. And then we're simply going to cut it thin pieces here, like you can see. I mean, I want to dice it in a way. And because we have a lot of extra here, and we don't really need one this big, I'm going to sort of put the butt part on the side for the moment. And by the way, it doesn't have to be red. It could be any color pepper. You guys know I like green, but for some reason my recollection of this sandwich is with the red pepper, though again, any color can do. So once you did that sort of thin slice across, you're then going to cut it again, sort of, again, trying to get it to a diced sort of place. Watch your fingers as usual. And sort of turn it once you did one cut through. And then you're going to sort of do it again. Now, as I think about it, is there a market for a pre-peeled potato? Maybe they sell them already, I just don't know about it, but could be an idea there, just saying. So I took the potato. Now I kind of quickly washed these, I just ran water over them just to get any sort of like grosser dust off. And pretty much you're just gonna peel away. I'm only gonna do one here for you guys. I'll do the rest off camera in post or pre or during production. And really just peel away, just get all the skin off, any bumps, any sort of miscellaneous pieces you want to get off here as well. I also don't know if there's a potato peeler device you can buy outside of the manual sort of method here. Maybe there's an idea there too for some sort of contraption you can quickly drop a potato into and have the skin all sort of taken off of it. So that's it. You just want to cut into this. You know, if you lose a little bit of the potato in the process, it's okay, particularly in our case here because we are using 5 instead of 4. Yeah, it's a little bit more of a pain getting the skin off the top and bottom, but we'll get there. Baking potatoes, I think, will be a little bit softer. These are potatoes peeled, and we just want to really cut them up. You know, you want to go again sort of thin across here. We're going to do this thing called like quarter rounds. I'll show you one, and then I'll do the others again and bore you with it, but I guess I can tell you some jokes, I don't know. Just want to cut this up into rounds, you know, into rounds like that. And then you can sort of pile a couple on top of each other. And you can just sort of cut them in half. And then you can cut them in half again. Hence the quarter round. So again, take a round, cut it in half, and then cut it in half again to get yourself 4 pieces. So we'll sort of quickly handle the rest of that. We're simply gonna pour our potatoes in and let those cook a bit. I am gonna tell you, I felt pretty good after the 4 potatoes, so I left the 5th guy on reserve for later. Just sort of felt like maybe it was enough. Maybe we didn't need the 5th, but we have them on the standby if need be. So we're going to just move these guys around for a couple of minutes. You really want to cook till soft, maybe 3 to 5 minutes of this, you know how I do it. I like to keep things moving. In the meantime, I did crack and get the eggs ready here. So I do have 8 eggs already in here. I don't want to bother you with cracking an egg. We are going to take our parsley, dump it in there. And we are going to take our teaspoon or so of salt, dump it in there as well. And we're going to do 2 things at once here. So I usually have this out and ready. We've got to beat the eggs here a little bit, while also simultaneously making sure these potatoes sort of stay in motion. Call that multitasking maybe, I don't know. You don't got to go crazy with the eggs, beating them, because once we mix this in with the potatoes, you can sort of continue to do that, but you know, I do like to mix it up a bit. So our potatoes are starting to brown. They're softening up, and I think I mentioned it, but not, it'll be up there, that you want to keep the heat on medium throughout this process here. Now we're going to take our egg mix, the parsley, the salt, and we're going to just sort of spill it throughout, evenly across the potatoes. You want some flair, you want some color. We're going to take our chopped up red peppers. This guy here didn't get cut up at all. And just sort of dump that in there. And manually sort of whip this guy up. And really just sort of continue to blend these guys together. It was a frittata, is what I was trying to talk about earlier. I couldn't remember the name. I think I called it something else. We're not making that, because we are going to make a sandwich out of this. So just continue to move. You'll see the egg is starting to cook. Probably another 3 to 5 on this. 3 to 4, I'll say 4 minutes. I know if you're a big fan of the movie Uncle Buck, when he makes that big breakfast for the family in the morning, it sort of looks like this. I know Macaulay Culkin refers to it as something else, but sort of a similar type of look. I love the color here. You got the egg, of course you got the parsley green spots and the red peppers mixed in. So when you hit this sort of 3-4 minute mark, by the way, there are some recipes out there that call for keeping this covered. No, don't do it. I'm now going to add the last ingredient, which is that little heavy 1/4 cup of mozzarella cheese. Just again, sort of, not again, but just sort of spread it out here amongst. And go right back in and mixing things up here. I'm gonna do about 2 more minutes on the mutz to have it sort of blend in there nicely. That's it, we're done. We're gonna be making sandwiches very shortly. Now, for today, we do have a couple of guests visiting here from Atlanta. And one of these guests particularly, has never been to New York, has never been, I'll lower the heat a bit, has never been to New York, has never been to the Northeast per se. So they're going to be in for a bit of a surprise when they see this, as they have no idea what it is. Sorry, there's no grits involved. So this really is for our guests today, visiting, have them try sort of a new dish. That was pretty easy, no? MOT, moment of truth. Take a look at this. Left it right in the skillet. And you serve this right from a skillet, right into your sliced Kaiser roll. Again, sort of a little bit of a rarity type dish, but something you should certainly try at home if you like potatoes, peppers, eggs, all 3 mixed together. And I think you'll find that this is quite a delicious breakfast sandwich. So lastly, of course, please remember, if you like what you saw here, you like what you heard, subscribe, click the bell. But for now, this is Mr. Clutch Cooks.